Welcome back to the Tipsy Ghost. We're your tipsy hosts, Sarah, and Lindsay.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
It's so good.
Best one yet.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Didn't laugh. Did really good.
Oh.
Look at us so serious.
Oh, did you not record it?
I did. I'm joking.
Oh, okay. Crap.
Made you look.
Man, you're a good actress.
You are. I was like, crap, now I'm going to die laughing the next one.
Well, we just had a laugh session of like 30 minutes straight, so.
Yeah, I got all my giggles out.
I gotta have a headache from laughing.
That was a good laugh, though.
Like I said, guys, be glad that we're not recording all the time because it would be so annoying, probably.
100%.
And all the laughter that you have to edit down, like, there's a lot. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, luckily we weren't recording for our laughing session we just had, so it's all good. I'm good.
Thank God, that was intense.
But usually we have a lot that I have to take out. You're right.
I'm sure there will be more this time, because I know for a fact this episode is a doozy.
Let me just give you a little spoiler. I was the DD.
God.
And two of us may have already been drunk by the time we got there.
One of us was the drunkest.
Mm-hmm. One of them made me take her picture with a clown.
Bathroom.
In the
First,
bathroom.
let's talk about, so in case you guys missed, this is our ghost hunting episode. We got to go ghost hunting.
Yeah.
So this is the episode where we get to talk about where we went and our experience there. And we went to Glore Psychiatric Museum in St. Joseph, Missouri.
Sure
Which
did.
I was super excited about. You don't see this pop up a lot on opportunities to go ghost hunting. I mean, we took it and ran with it.
Yeah.
Especially me. I was a little overserved. I was a lot overserved, and I was just super excited because I didn't have to drive anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to hang out with my friends, and you know how that happens
It
sometimes.
was our first ghost hunting experience really since COVID.
It was.
It was our first one since February.
I was super pumped. I got a little overexcited, so.
We were all very excited. Just happy to be able to actually go someplace together.
Well, thank you for making me feel better, but we all know who the clown was in this.
So we were all very excited.
This adventure.
The person in the bathroom.
That was me.
So Sarah is going to start us off with some history kind of about Glore for those who are not local to the Kansas City area and may not know of it. And then we'll kind of go from there.
Like she said, this is the Glore Psychiatric Museum. And in order to understand the museum, you kind of have to have a little background on the history of mental health. I got most of my information just as an FYI from legendsofamerica.com and also an article written by Twyla Hyari. Just
Thanks,
to throw that out
Twyla.
there. So in the 18th century, there was actually no real treatment for mental health, and patients were usually detained in one room of their homes by family members, and those rooms were usually a basement or an attic. Other times they became homeless or were incarcerated, where they suffered brutal and inhumane living conditions. Changes started in the 18th century during the Age of Enlightenment and the introduction of moral treatment. This was an approach to mental disorder based on humane psychosocial care or moral discipline. It's particularly associated with reform and development of the asylum system. It's widely seen as influencing certain areas of psychiatric practice up to the present day. It focused on rest and recuperation away from urban environments, instead exposing patients to the restorative effects of fresh air, water, sunshine, and rolling countryside. Countryside, complete with a daily routine of work and leisure. They would be cared for by staff who lived among them and treated them with dignity and respect.
I bet that didn't last long.
Right. So,
Sorry.
you're onto something
I'm
there.
onto something. It's like I studied mental health.
It's like you might know something. I know I'm a little anxious because this is like your background, not really mine so much, so don't judge me.
No, you're doing great.
Thank you. In 1872, Missouri State Legislature approved $200,000 for the building of a lunatic asylum. St. Joseph citizens convinced the legislature to locate it just east of their city. It was the second state-funded facility for people labeled mentally ill to be established in the state of Missouri. Opened on November 9th of 1874, It accepted 25 patients from residents of the Buchanan County Poor Farm and Fulton, Missouri State Lunatic Asylum No. 1. Originally known as the State Hospital for the Insane No. 2, or more commonly known as the State Lunatic Asylum No. 2. A fire destroyed the original building on January 25th of 1879. A new facility replaced the burnt structure in 1880. The new building was designed to hold about a third more people than the original design. Sorry, I have phlegm at the yang.
I have phlegm at the yang.
Where's
Who
your
doesn't
yang?
Who doesn't like a little phlegm in the yang?
Little phlegm in the morning.
I don't know where yang is, though.
It's wherever
Best
you want
guess.
it to be. It's the opposite place where the yin is.
It's the opposite of the yang.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
I'm hilarious.
You're correct. It's phlegm in the yang. All right. So the hospital continued to be called the State Lunatic Asylum No. 2 until 1899, when it gained the name the St. Joseph State Hospital. The hospital began with only 25 patients, like I mentioned, but the 275-bed hospital quickly filled when relatives could no longer handle the special needs of family members with mental illness. Eventually, an additional 120 beds were added, and over the years, another 250 were added. The construction followed a style known as the Kirkbride Plan. Do you know the Kirkbride Plan?
I do not, I don't think.
I wasn't sure if this was like a common thing that's taught in mental health. I know I didn't really know about it. So
I have no idea what that
Maybe
is.
I've heard of it and I just don't know the name of it. I don't know.
no worries. Dr. Thomas Story Kirkbride was a physician and a founding member of the Association for Superintendents of American Institutions for the Insane. In his book, The Construction of Hospitals for the Insane, he makes a case for the institutionalization of those who were considered insane. The enlightened, that's me in air quotes, treatment Kirkbride referred to involved housing mentally ill people in hospitals with staggered wings that allowed fresh air and sunlight to permeate the building. But, as Kirkbride says later, this view of institutionalization was not solely because of his belief in the potential for healing within the asylums. He also thought that insane individuals had great potential for violence. So that's kind of where this came from. The buildings were multi-story floor plan around a central spire or dome. They had long wings, typically 8, staggered in a bat wing fashion, so each connected wing received sunlight and fresh air. Who knew? In the beginning, the asylum was a self-sufficient institution where the patients worked on a farm, raising crops and livestock to provide the food for the facility. Allegedly, the hospital needed to purchase only salt and sugar to supplement their food stock. The asylum prided itself as the kind of institution that took on the noble work of reviving hope in the human heart and dispelling, this is a quote, the pretentious clouds that penetrate the intellects of minds diseased. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, patients would be seen walking the grounds of the hospital, playing card games, relaxing on benches, and lounging in swings. This treatment changed as time passed. By the 1930s, the asylum had become much more crowded. By the early 1950s, the facility had grown to nearly 3,000 beds and housed some of the most criminally insane individuals in the state, as well as those that could be rehabilitated. It also housed people that suffered from depression. According to the museum, a few of these patients were mildly depressed individuals who were dumped there by annoyed relatives.
Gosh.
With modern medications, more patients began to return to society. Throughout its history, the hospital underwent a series of experimental treatments for its patients. A lot of them sounded more like torture than a cure. Which I'm sure they actually were.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, changing gears just a little bit, a man named George Glore moved to St. Joseph in 1962 and worked as an activity aide in occupational therapy at the hospital. There, he saw the 300 most difficult female patients, including the mentally retarded, combative, and elderly.
Only female?
There were male, too, but this one in specific, he's describing the female patients. Okay. They were kept in 2 huge rooms with just one bathroom. Beds were jammed together, and many of the women who had no control over their bowel or bladders were naked. The most difficult men were held in similar conditions, but with fewer men per ward. There were showers, but sometimes the overworked staff would clean the men all at once with high-pressure hoses.
Jeez.
This was in the 60s. Which, FYI.
That's crazy to me to think of because, my parents were alive during that time.
Yeah, it seems like so long ago. Like, and this would have never happened, but it really was not that long ago.
Not.
In 1966, George built life-size models of primitive devices formerly used for mental health treatment for display during a Mental Health Awareness Week. The models, together with a growing collection of other artifacts, became a museum in 1967. Designed to show the treatment of mental illness and how it's progressed through time. He explained that, quote, "We really can't have a good appreciation of the strides we've made in mental health treatment if we don't look at the atrocities of the past."
Preach.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm. Way to go, George.
I like this dude.
George had some of the patients help him build full-size replicas of 16th, 17th, and 18th century treatment devices that were created for a mental health awareness exhibit, like I mentioned. Mm-hmm. He continued to add to the collection throughout his 41-year career with the department. After his retirement in the 1990s, he continued to serve as the museum's curator until his death in 2010. He did some good work there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fighting the stigma. Love it, George.
And I think it's great that he included the patients to help him build these, gives them a job, gives them something to do.
Right.
Okay, so at first the museum was housed in a ward of the original St. Joseph State Hospital. In the 1990s, the hospital was repurposed as a state prison, and a new facility called Northwest Missouri Psychiatric Rehabilitation opened across the street from the original hospital. The Glore Museum moved to a 1968 building across from the prison gates that was originally a clinic for patients at the mental hospital. Here are some of the treatments that were previously used, as well as some of the displays of the museum.
Okay.
I hadn't heard of most of these, but you might have. So I thought they were pretty interesting.
As long as we don't go into detail about lobotomies, I'm good.
Oh, girl, it's coming. You know it is.
I took a picture of Phineas George while we were there.
I'm sure you did. I hate that. Phineas George, you mean Phineas Gage?
Okay.
Yes, that's it.
That one.
Railroad.
Edit that out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not fair. That's not fair.
No, I'm not the editor. And you never edit out any of my stuff. And you go, I won't.
I'm not going to.
I'm glad we're clear on that.
All right.
As long as there's an understanding. All right. So the first one I wrote is insulin coma therapy. Patients were given several high doses of insulin to induce severe hypoglycemia. It was intended to put them into comas and was thought to relieve psychosis by combating the adrenal system. This treatment was popular in the 1930s and eventually abandoned in the 50s.
Took 20 years. Took 20 years.
To induce hypoglycemia.
To realize that putting people in a coma is not a good thing.
That's how people die.
Right.
Like, too much insulin. Okay, whatever. Metrazole convulsive therapy. Do you know that one? I didn't know any of these. Okay, so I'm just going to stop asking. A strategy used to treat people diagnosed with schizophrenia. It was invented by a Hungarian neurologist named Dr. Meduna in 1934. Dr. Meduna believed that epilepsy was incompatible with schizophrenia, so he felt that if he induced seizures in schizophrenic patients, it may be therapeutic.
So how is this different from electroconvulsive?
Hold that thought.
Okay.
This therapy was discontinued in 1941 after side effects such as broken bones led providers to believe that the benefits were not worth the risk.
Mm-hmm.
This was eventually replaced with electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT.
Okay.
This is a procedure done under general anesthesia in which small electric currents are passed through the brain, intentionally triggering a brief seizure. ECT seems to cause changes in brain chemistry that can quickly reverse symptoms of certain mental health conditions.
Mm-hmm.
This therapy is still used today, despite critics' claims that it causes brain damage.
Yes, still used today.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few patients that we would refer for ECT.
Wow. Where do they do it?
We do it at the hospital.
Really?
I mean, they go, so we'd be at the psych, when I worked at the psych unit, they would go over to the medical hospital and they'd go at like 6 a.m. and be put under, have their session, and then they'd come back by like 9:30, 9:45.
Did you see benefits from it?
Yeah, so we did it, and I will put a disclaimer, you do it on patients who you have tried everything.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a last
Medication
resort.
therapy is not working for them, yeah.
So either very severe depression that is just not working, basically, with any kind of treatment, or bipolar, pretty much any kind of psychiatric illness there. And yeah, I mean, I did see a difference with some patients, so it triggers the hippocampus, if I'm remembering correctly, which is your memory. And they would, it's not, I know people probably think of ECT and they think like they're probably like zombies afterwards or something like that, and they weren't like that at all. But I did see
some benefit from
some benefits, and they go for several sessions. I think they'd go for typically like 6 sessions while they're still inpatient in the hospital, so we could monitor them, and then they'd go to so many outpatient as well.
I mean, that's good to know that it was at least somewhat beneficial for people.
Yeah. I noticed a difference with quite a few.
The next one is the tranquilizer chair. This was actually something that was on display there at the museum. So when in use, patients could spend up to 6 months strapped into the chair.
Jeez.
There's one on display, like I mentioned, and it has a hood, hand and feet restraints, and a built-in portable toilet to accommodate extended sessions.
It's terrible.
Yeah. The next one is the O'Halloran swing. This contraption, when in use, would rotate at approximately 100 revolutions per minute. The intention was to help improve the patient's circulation of blood to their brain. Instead, it sent blood hurtling to the brain, making the subject violently ill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like a ride at Worlds of Fun.
I was going to say, it's like a spinning teacup of death.
Yeah, this is horrible.
Ugh.
On display at the museum was the contents of a compulsive woman who had swallowed approximately 1,446 objects before falling ill. She died as surgeons were removing buttons, screws, spoon handles, and thimbles from her body. And they didn't outright say, but I'm pretty sure she suffered from pica. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it says on the display there.
Okay, they didn't say on the website.
Yeah, which pica, for those who don't know, is obsessive disorder where you just swallow inanimate objects.
Yes. Also is a fever cabinet. It was used to sweat syphilis out of patients' bodies. A patient was placed in a cabinet designed to raise the body temperature above 105 degrees. Physicians learned in the 1940s, though, that syphilis responded to penicillin. It's probably a little easier than burning people to death.
Yeah.
Medicine.
Hey.
What?
Next is Lindsay's favorite, lobotomies.
Oh, I hate the lobotomy.
There's a weird progression of lobotomies, so...
Yeah,
this was
worse and worse.
Kind of does. This was a surgical procedure where the fibers connecting the frontal lobes to the rest of the brain were severed. Physicians performed the surgery to quiet self-destructive, delusional, or violent patients. In 1936, neurologist Dr. Walter Freeman and neurosurgeon Dr. James Watts performed the first prefrontal lobotomy in the U.S. in Topeka, Kansas. By 1942, the two had performed over 200 prefrontal lobotomies.
I didn't know that the first lobotomy in the U.S. was in Kansas.
I didn't either.
There's a documentary on that, and forgive me, I've forgotten all the details, but there is a physician who did lobotomies on patients who didn't need them simply so that he could study it. And
I believe it.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I haven't seen this documentary.
Yeah, it was.
I just can't.
It's a fascinating documentary. I'll try and remember
when you
it.
Find it, you let me know.
We can.
I'll watch it.
Link it or something.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. In 1946, Dr. Freeman completed the first transorbital lobotomy. The transorbital or ice pick lobotomy didn't require a neurosurgeon or an operating room. You can see why this is probably a little more appealing to certain facilities. According to the exhibit, over 40,000 people were eventually lobotomized in the United States.
Oh my gosh.
Some practitioners loved lobotomies because they made patients docile and manageable.
Because you're destroying their brain.
Yep. But critics of the era pointed out the ethical implications of using such a strategy for patient management.
Right.
Which I would have to agree. Also on display are physical restraints, which we still use today.
Yep.
Mannequins are on display wearing gloves that have been strapped to their wrists so they are unable to injure themselves or others. There's also paintings on display done by patients, and there are tunnels under the facility. These were covered in murals painted by patients as a form of therapy. There's access to a small segment of the tunnels, and the rest are located under the prison, so you can't get to those.
And maybe I missed this part when we were there, but what did the tunnels lead to? What was their purpose?
I think it was just a way to get back and forth underneath. Yeah, so
like to transport patients?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew there was tunnels. Obviously, we were in the tunnels, but I didn't remember what they were used for.
I don't know. My mind always goes to dead bodies because that's what tunnels are used for down there, and the morgue was down there.
That's a good point.
So, I don't know. All right, so there's also the St. Joseph State Hospital Cemetery. There are roughly 2,000 people buried here. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Many of the graves have been bulldozed over, becoming part of the pasture. There are 150 still above ground, meaning headstones.
Out of 2,000.
Out of 2,000, yeah.
Jeez.
Visitors have to get permission to go into the cemetery, and most of them have numbers instead of names on the stones due to health information privacy laws.
That's kind of sad, though. That
it is kind of sad.
Like, remembered,
Nope. All right, and just another story of a patient who was there. One patient believed that if he collected 100,000 used packs of Marlboro, Cool, and Winston cigarette packs, he could redeem them for a new wheelchair. He actually collected 108,000, and his unit did end up getting him a new wheelchair, thanks to the hospital administrators.
It's pretty cool.
I don't think they actually turned in the old packs, but, Another patient was seen slipping folded pieces of paper into the back of an old TV, and I'm laughing because this is where I had a mental breakdown in the
we'll talk about that
in the museum. Thank God. When the TV was taken apart, it was found to be jammed with more than 500 letters and diary entries. Some of these are on display at the museum. Apparently, the resident was under the impression that hospital staff were keeping 2 boxcars full of money from him and included the serial numbers to the boxcars on the notes. Another thing on display is the Bath of Surprise.
Oh, that does not sound like a good surprise.
It's not, actually. It was not used much because the risk of death was high.
Oh, okay. This is great.
Right. Patients were plunged into the water with no warning, which often led to shock. So they were quickly submerged into a bath of ice water.
Oh, gosh.
There's also hydrotherapy tubs, which is actually kind of similar. There just wasn't a lot of surprise. You just get in.
It wasn't a surprise bath. Surprise, you get a bath.
And a piece of embroidery that was done by a nonverbal patient there. She just stitched words. Do you remember seeing this?
I do,
yeah. All right. So the ghost stories are actually kind of hard to find there. But there have been several people, and they tell stories of unexplained voices and footsteps when they were in the museum. One person said, "We heard some voices and some shadows, but we couldn't explain. We heard knocking on the walls." Mm-hmm. So just lots of creepy things happening there.
Yeah.
But you gotta remember, this isn't the original building. These are all things that were taken from the original building and put into an older building. So while they do carry probably some of the emotions that were there, it's not the OG.
More like haunted objects versus haunted place.
Right. Yeah. So Sarah's going to talk to us a little bit more about the layout, but that is the history of the museum.
And refresh my memory. So I know I've been there during the daytime. Have you guys been there during the daytime?
No. I have. I went for school.
Okay. So I went, never been. But it's been since 2011. It's been a long time. So I wanted to go back just because, mental health. It's my jam, y'all.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we saw that it was going to be like a haunted ghost tour, so we pretty much, we snatched right up on it.
Oh, yeah.
So, now we're going to talk about the layout a little bit.
First, so I found it. It's called The Lobotomist.
Oh, the documentary.
That makes sense.
Documentary. And it's about Dr. Walter Freeman.
Oh, is that who I talked about?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
The
man
US.
of lobotomy.
Yeah, there he is.
And he, I'm just reading an excerpt, he would do it in front of crowds. He did it on a 12-year-old. I mean, he did
that kills me.
on 3,000 to 4,000 patients.
What doctor would ever
by watching
do
this,
that to a
it
12-year-old?
kind of gave the sense that it was in the name of science as opposed to in the name of patient outcomes.
Oh, yeah. Well, that too.
So I really enjoyed it. And, well, I mean, you know what I mean. It was a fascinating documentary, is what I will say, and I recommend it.
Cool. The Lobotomist. And that makes sense. The title.
It totally does. So for the layout, we're just going to go floor by floor. I'll tell you what is located on that floor, and then we'll talk about if we had any experiences or anything like that.
Sounds good.
And we'll start at the top floor. The third floor housed the art therapy room, the rocking chair therapy area, spiritual therapy, which looked like a chapel, and music therapy. What do you guys remember about that?
I'm rolling my eyes because there's limited memory from this night, so I'm not gonna have much input.
I don't remember much from the third floor, really, other than just, rocking chair room, it's like tons of rocking chairs lining the halls.
That's literally
what it is. Yeah. We didn't go inside the chapel.
We did.
Did we?
We sat in it.
Don't look at me.
What room was this?
In the chapel.
It's called the chapel. We were there.
We were sitting in the pews.
Yes. I remember. Yes, I remember that now. Because they use that for substance use, like people like going for like AA and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember this now.
Not much.
I don't feel like we
there.
had anything really happen up there to us.
No. I didn't feel anything. Sarah, you didn't give off the vibe that you were feeling much of anything up there.
Probably not.
And looking back at pictures, we don't have any anomalies or anything like that.
Nothing like that.
Yeah, and we didn't spend a whole lot of time up there.
Yeah, that's why I'm probably not remembering it as much, because we also weren't up there very long.
Right. I think at the time that we went up, there were 2 other smaller groups of people up there at the same time, and we just wanted to do our own thing.
We try to avoid groups, guys.
That we do.
At all cost.
Yes. So we're going to move on to the second floor, which are the treatment areas and psychosurgery areas. And that includes the display of the patient with pica and the things that they extracted from her stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Which I said earlier, it's eating inanimate objects, which is like, obviously, most objects are inanimate.
I was going to say something, and I just was
I realized it after I did it, and I was
it.
like, Lindsay, you're a couple drinks deep right now, so...
How many?
I meant
Tell us how many. 3.
That it's eating things that are not edible, so... Obviously, I don't know how else to
eating
explain
things
this.
that are not alive.
Like, eating things that are not meant
Inanimate.
Oh,
she said.
Yeah. Okay.
Eating things that are not for human consumption.
Okay.
Dirt, buttons, batteries.
I would have
pins,
said inanimate too.
Like,
so.
pretty much anything like that.
Shows how much I
objects
know.
that are not meant for human consumption. I don't know what to say.
Should I look up the definition?
I've had quite a few patients who would swallow batteries.
I mean, I know what it is. But
sewing needles, and we would see it on the X-ray,
so
all the needles in there.
Pica is an eating disorder that involves eating items that are not typically thought of as food and that do not contain significant nutritional value, such as hair, dirt, and paint chips.
Yes. So, yeah.
Hair?
Not food. Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of Bezor?
Or trichomania?
No.
They pull out their hair and sometimes they'll eat it.
Well, I've heard of them pulling out. I haven't heard of them eat. Well, I mean, I've heard of it, but it doesn't seem like it should be like a nut.
While you're Googling, look up a Bezor.
How the hell do I spell that?
Zoar?
Yeah.
Like Harry Potter?
What?
Yes, in Harry Potter.
I feel like that's
he
right.
gives Ron Weasley the Bezor to
look
save
up
his life.
Images.
A small stony concentration that may form in the stomachs of certain animals. Oh, that actually sounds fairly normal. Does it help him digest? Yeah.
Bezor, right?
That's what I wrote, yeah. Stones that go in that develop in the stomach. That actually sounds like fairly normal.
It's not, well, I thought it was hair, like a hair wad.
There's a picture
of that.
A
Bezor in Harry Potter is a stone-like mass taken from the stomach of the goat that acts as an antidote to most poisons. That's how he saves Ron Weasley's life. You're welcome, Potterheads everywhere.
Anyways,
Sarah's
how
like
did
a
we get on
limousine.
that?
It's so it shows the pica display. It
Pica.
shows the lobotomy chair.
Which I think I have a picture of the pica display from when I went years ago. And so
It's like
we'll
a
post that.
bed, right?
I took one too.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
It's got the treatment areas, all the psychosurgery, just displays. They set it up as if with mannequins, as if things are actually happening. Sarah didn't like the mannequins. She thought it wasn't true to real life.
Well,
she did.
mannequins are not true to real life.
So this is a place that
Oh,
we,
God.
several rooms, I feel like we got some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some stuff from, like you said, the surgery rooms, and so that's where kind of like they talk about the lobotomies and Phineas Cage and all of that.
Yes.
So do you want to kind of start there with where your experience was? Because you had some.
Yeah.
Remember when you put your hand on the table?
So whenever I put my hand on the lobotomy chair table, I had dizziness and chest pain. And whenever I took it off, it just suddenly went away. I didn't have anything beforehand. I didn't have anything afterwards. It just happened while I was touching the table. We took pictures around the table. We didn't get any anomalies.
Just not a good feeling.
Yeah, it just wasn't great. And then you go down the hall and you see these different treatment areas.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another hall where it's the main hall, and it leads you to a room of art. And then down at the end of the hall were all of the treatments that Sarah was talking about. It also has, did we decide they're called gallows? I know this was a debate last
They're
time.
called stocks.
Stocks.
Yes, guys, remember when I said, oh, what's that thing that they used? And
Oh,
you put your hands and your face in, you stand there all day? It's called stocks. The stocks. So we took a picture. Me and Sarah actually have a picture from the stocks because we were so excited to finally find it and know what it's called.
Sarah and me? I.
You took a picture of me, so Sarah and me.
But you said Sarah and me and Sarah have a picture. So you would say I have a picture, so Sarah and I.
Okay.
We had to debate
That's
this.
how
We had
I
a debate
know.
because in an episode that came out a couple weeks ago, they both corrected me when I said...
I
No,
don't
you
know
didn't.
anything.
You just said grammar police or something. But Boydston corrected me and said Sarah and I was right. It was Sarah and me.
I'm just laughing because I
don't remember what it was.
But she had said me and Sarah.
Okay, whatever. At least I had the right pronoun.
I just had to sigh loudly because I literally know nothing about grammar.
So
I'm the worst.
So that room
Okay.
that had the art. That's also where the TV was, right? The TV was across the hall from the art
Yes.
that you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're already there, aren't we?
Here we are.
We've arrived.
Sarah, and we're just going to put that disclaimer out there again, guys. She was intoxicated.
I was highly
She
intoxicated.
pre-gamed. I pre-gamed too, so we both pre-gamed.
Just really excited, okay?
we all were, but she started having an experience. Once she saw, she started getting a feeling when you saw the artwork.
The booby artwork, yes. It was this weird booby painting.
It was a very weird painting.
We'll have to show it.
And she was just like, I don't like that. I don't like it. But
I
she
still
couldn't,
don't like it.
She couldn't tell us why she didn't like it. She just kept saying, I don't like it. So we're like, okay, let's go out in the hallway. So that's where the TV is. And then she really started getting upset.
As soon as she turned the corner, she just started crying.
She started crying, and she was saying that she was getting this feeling and hearing these voices around her. Me and Boydston were hearing nothing. But again, I hear nothing, I see nothing, I feel nothing. That makes me sound like a robot, sorry.
I have no feelings.
In regards to paranormal. And so I'm trying to calm her down.
This is your semi-erect penis ghost.
Your semi-erect penis is showing.
So I'm trying to calm her down because I'm just thinking she's just drunk and blah blah blah.
Which I might have been.
Yeah.
I might have been, but
Boydston's over there and she goes, or maybe she's possessed.
I think it was probably both. I think I was drunk and possessed. I don't think I would have been crying if I wasn't drunk.
It was just immediate
Maybe I
tears.
would have been. I don't know. I don't remember. So
it just came on suddenly. You were very emotional. You were saying you were hearing people. You were asking you were convinced that we should be able to hear it too, and you were asking Lindsay, can you hear it? Like, I just need you to hear it. And she was saying, I'm trying to hear it, just tell me what they're saying. And at one point I believe that we got out that it was happy.
Mm-hmm.
That you were just so overwhelmed with happiness.
Yeah.
That people could hear me, maybe? Well, didn't I ask if you, something about channels?
Yeah.
On the TV.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had the EVP pretty much the whole night, so I was recording.
You had the recorder.
The recorder, whatever, the EVP recorder. They know what I mean.
Well, an EVP is an electronic voice phenomenon.
I have the recorder to capture the EVPs.
I'm just going to stop talking. How about that?
So she kept saying, can you just listen to it? Listen to it and you'll hear what I'm hearing. And I was like, just tell me what you're hearing. Like, I was just trying to get out of her, like, what are you hearing?
I don't think I was hearing anything specific. It just sounded like...
You just said it's a lot of noise and it's just happiness.
Yes, just like a channel, like a TV channel.
And once we left that area and left the TV and the painting, you were fine.
Yep.
Totally fine. Like,
no tears.
No tears.
I feel like it supports it's not just alcohol theory.
It probably enhanced.
Absolutely. I will not negate that.
Right. But that is like 5 minutes from my life that I have no idea what happened.
Which is funny because...
Literally, it's just completely gone.
Sally House. If we go back to Sally House when we were in the basement...
Sorry, move it.
You were not intoxicated, really, at the Sally House, especially by the point we were in the basement.
Not at all.
But you don't remember a lot of how anxious and how...
No, that's a good point, yeah. I thought I was fine, and then we listened to it, and I clearly was not fine.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't know what to say about that, other than... It's 5 minutes of my life that are just completely gone, and apparently I was a tearful mess.
Yeah.
But they have video of me, okay?
But we're not going to play that.
Absolutely not.
I did it mainly for Sarah's own benefit, because I wanted her to... I didn't know if she would remember this because of the alcohol, and so I was like, I want to show her this and see if she remembers any of this.
Well, I remember, actually, like, a good piece of the night. That part I don't remember. But... I won't even watch the video. Number one, it's cringy, but number two, I just really don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. So I'm not going to do it.
No, and we're not going to play it.
Thank you.
Overall, I thought it was a really cool floor as far as what the content was.
Yeah.
And I just liked looking at the history of everything in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the room where they have, like, the history of it, where they're showing the stocks and the chair that she kind of talked about, and the tub, and that's just, I mean, it's terrible to see.
There was a witch being burned at the stake.
There was a witch being burned at the stake.
There's
Sarah
some kind of crib.
Some weird hamster wheel.
Yes, I remember that.
Giant thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of a cool room just to see, like, how far we've come, really.
Absolutely.
In the treatment of mental health.
Yes. So moving down from the second floor is the first floor, the ground floor, whatever you want to call it. It's where you enter. It has the gift shop, and the main building is the gift shop. If you come there during business hours, at least how I remember it whenever I last went, they can play a video, a movie of kind of a short history of mental health and previews some of the things that you'll see in the museum. But then just right outside the door, you can go into the tunnels.
Like outside the building. So you leave the building
and
you go... Yeah, you're on the main level and you go into these tunnels, which there was like some kind of construction because there was this huge giant like industrial fan in there. So a lot of our recordings, it's kind of hard to hear because you just hear the sound of the fan in the background. Yeah. But the tunnels, they stop, so they're not connected to anything anymore.
Yeah, they've been walled off.
So we would just go down to the very end of it. It's dark, it's pitch black pretty much, and you're in this confined space. So I don't think any of us felt good in that.
I didn't love the feeling of the tunnels.
No.
I was fine. I mean, the rest of the place, the lights were off in several areas, so it wasn't like we were in bright light and then all of a sudden we're in the dark and I'm just afraid of the dark. There was a feeling that I just did not like about the tunnels.
It It's definitely weird. I kept I kept asking you guys to go back down there. Well, we could go, where do we want to go? I want to go back to the tunnels. But we never really saw anything down there.
Yeah.
Or maybe we did, and it was just really hard to hear anything down there.
Right. I don't know. My main thing is just the feeling. I did get orbs on when I took pictures.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I didn't like being down there either, which I don't love the dark. I'm normally okay with the dark if I have people with me. It's being alone in the dark I don't like. But it was just, and I don't know if it's my own anxiety with you're underground and you're in this enclosed space and it's dark and it's night and all of that. But we'd be down there, because you're right, we kept going down there, but we'd be down there for 5 minutes tops and then we'd leave.
Right.
And then we'd come back and 5 minutes and we'd leave. Like, none of us, I think, felt comfortable down there. But again, my semi-erect self is saying that's
your
because
semi-erect ghost penis
is saying that's because I don't like the dark normally, and I don't like being enclosed, which nobody really does.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Take that for what you will.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I mean, you definitely start like going lower and lower. You can tell you're like going downhill,
like
kind of
underground. Yeah,
it does kind of give off a spooky vibe.
Yeah, tunnels are creepy no matter what.
Right. Well, and the fact that it goes underneath the prison after that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Creepy.
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure.
the graffiti that's all over the walls too kind of gives off a creepy vibe too, I felt like.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go back inside and go down to the lower level, and this is where we had the most activity.
The lower level.
Yeah, so down to lower level basement is the morgue / autopsy room, occupational therapy room, the kitchen, the psychiatric therapy area, and the Woodson Children's Psychiatric Hospital area.
Yes, which there's 2 cars there.
There are 2 cars.
In that Woodson Children's Psychiatric Hospital area, there are 2 cars.
Like real life-size cars, guys.
But why? Why are there 2 cars in the kids' museum?
I don't know.
There was a reason.
Okay, thank you.
But
for clarifying
was
that.
The first place we went, so that was where I was probably the most intoxicated. So
there was a reason. I don't know what it was.
I mean, let me
believe me when I say
if I can find it. Cars in Glore. So there's cars down there. So we are down there, and I will say there's like a red light that's kind of being given off in the dark there. So we just decided to sit down in between the 2 cars and have a little dowsing rod session, and pulled out the spirit box, and
we just had a good old time.
I said a little prayer for us
against Sarah's wishes.
Because Boydston was like, after what happened at Sally House, let's just like say a prayer, because this is the first place we went, to start us off, and just prayer of protection. And so I'm trying to say a prayer, and Sarah was like, hold the fuck on. And I was like, I am trying to talk to Jesus here. Can you stop? And so,
I said that.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I said the Jesus part. Okay.
We're trying to talk to Jesus.
We're trying to talk to Jesus. I was trying to say a prayer. She's dropping F-bombs at me. And then I say a prayer, and in my prayer I said something about like, keep us safe from any ill will spirits or something like that.
Who are trying to do us harm.
Who are trying to do us harm. And Sarah goes, wait, what? And I was like,
what?
What do you think I'm praying for?
This winter. Why are they trying to hurt us?
Okay, I'm gonna pray. Dear Jesus.
Wait.
Back the fuck up. Back the fuck up.
We're talking to Jesus. Hospital.
I'm going to tell you right now, you all are wrong.
Sibling.
Hang on. Can you talk to us then? Like, how do you feel about a prayer of protection? Like,
So
from
the
demons?
demons don't come get us.
After the Sally House?
Remember how worried you were and how anxious you were?
Yes.
Attention.
Can I say a prayer?
Yes.
Okay. Classroom. Attention. I don't know
She
what's
knows
in it.
what's up.
Okay. Dear Jesus.
She knows. She
We
knows
just
what's up.
want to pray that you would protect us tonight from any demons or any spirits that mean us ill will.
Wait, what?
So we said our little prayer, and then the spirit box went freaking nuts, y'all. Like, it was going off the chain. The dowsing rods were going off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm saying off the chain. Like, this is
Everything
it was all
was
off the
off.
chain.
It was all off the chain.
The chisel.
The chisel.
I was off the chain.
She was
Oh my
very
God.
off the chain. But yeah, we were
that's
getting
fun.
responses like it was insane.
We were getting several responses.
Nurse was one of them.
They kept saying nurse.
Mm-hmm.
They said other things that were kind of targeted towards us. What they said? They said short woman.
Short woman.
Mm-hmm.
Assault
And then it
or
said
something.
harm.
Or harm. Yeah.
They said short woman harm.
We're like, don't hurt Sarah.
I did not appreciate that. However, I was not harmed at Glore, so I feel like maybe I'm okay.
You're okay.
You're good.
Yeah.
It was the prayer.
Short. Women. Hard.
I'm telling you.
Short women harm.
Oh no! Don't hurt Sarah. We just sprayed a prayer for her.
We sprayed a pear.
You prayed a prayer. So what? How is your dowsing rods? How are they doing?
Dowsing rods were great. I know that we all made comments about how quick the responses were and how I just remember it feeling like I already made fun of myself earlier tonight for talking about dowsing rods in such a passionate way.
The sticks.
No, they were not described as sticks.
Right.
She went into some good detail.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So there's a recording from that night of me really passionately talking about them and saying
Guys,
you
don't
can
make fun
just
of 'em.
feel the intensity and emotion behind the responses. And I laugh at that, but that's also kind of true if you have used dowsing rods before successfully.
Also, I found out why there were cars.
Why?
It was a 1978 Chevy Monte Carlo restored by young psych patients.
Okay.
So they helped rebuild the cars.
That makes
Form of
sense.
Therapy.
That's cool.
So anyways, I had
Some
to look it
hands-on
up.
therapy. Love it. Okay, so your dowsing rods, you were getting a lot of responses, and they were pretty immediate.
There was a lot. It was immediate. I mean, it's just constant. When we would ask a question, it would respond. When I asked to reset, it reset. And like I said, the feeling was there that there was something. And then Sarah.
What else did I do?
She doesn't like us.
She doesn't like us talking, but I think I really enjoy going paranormal places with her because I watch her reactions to things and I feel like you can see a visible change in her. She's the most sensitive of the group, and it was almost, listening back to that audio, it was almost like Lindsay or I would ask a question, and before the dowsing rods would move or before anything came out of the box, she would give a response. It's like she heard something that Lindsay and I were not hearing. She was feeling something that we weren't feeling. And that's just the perception that I was getting, is you were feeling something. I know that you were very drunk at that time, but I feel like you can also be extra sensitive whenever you have been drinking.
Oh, for sure. I'm a lot more vocal about it too.
Mhm.
Like, I won't say anything if I'm sober, even if I'm feeling things or thinking things when I'm sober. I'm not gonna say anything.
Right.
Last night we just went out and did an investigation last night. Totally stone cold sober. It's great.
Yeah.
But I did not say a word the whole time, even if I was feeling things, because I don't want to like alter other people's thoughts. When I'm drinking, that kind of goes out the window.
And
And plus,
just
it's
us
just you
too,
guys,
yeah.
and so then I'm like just letting everybody have it. Whatever's in my head
And
Right.
they were,
comes out.
yeah, and they were answering me, I feel like,
Mhm.
pretty
Yeah.
regularly. Regularly, that's not a good word.
Yeah, talk
Yeah,
about
it is.
that
Pretty
time
readily, that's what I mean.
Sure,
in
either
the occupational
Oh,
area.
here we go.
Yeah, so it's like this occupational therapy room, and it's got like this display, but you can't really go in the room. It's kind of like a walkway, I
Mhm.
feel like.
Yeah.
And it's pitch black dark in there, and so the three of us just sat there in the walkway, by ourselves, and we're like, let's just sit here, and we had the spirit box out again, and We're recording some EVPs and sat down there and kind of talked for a while, and Sarah started getting some feelings.
I did.
Do you remember that?
Of course, I did have a lot of. I just remember getting a lot of responses. Is it not an Ovilus that we have?
It's like
Did
an
you
app.
have an app on your phone?
Yeah, it's an app.
But like when we say we're getting a lot of responses, like it was like bam, 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 like constantly. We couldn't even get a question in before it.
And
went.
I kept calibrating it. And I've used this other places, and it has not done this before.
We used it other places in the museum and didn't get anything.
Even. Yep, you're right.
But it was literally like every 2 seconds a different word, nonstop. So you were getting some feelings while we were in there, and this is like where the tub was. Surprise tub.
The surprise tub. I got feelings about your grandma being there.
Did. Yes. She was like, she just started talking about my grandma, which
out of nowhere. We've never talked about your grandma.
Never talked about my grandma. She didn't even know that I had a grandma that had passed.
Nope.
And this was 2014, so I mean, before I even knew you.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember saying she's really proud of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just saying that she was there. Which kind of took me by surprise, because like I said, we have not talked about my grandma.
No, and you really didn't validate it, I don't think, either, at the time.
I think I was just surprised.
Well, you weren't like, oh yeah, she died 20 years ago or whatever. And
yeah, I mean, it was weird.
I could totally see that.
So when you said, I feel my grandma, my first thought was, have I told them about my grandma? Like, do they even know that I have a grandma that's passed?
No.
And my second thought was, well, I've always just believed that my grandma was up in heaven. And so
yeah,
that's why I think I was dumbfounded, and I just didn't say anything, because I was also intoxicated, and I was like, I don't really know how to put this into words to explain.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to.
No, and this was nothing against you. It was just
startling.
It was something I had to wrap my head around and think about. And I was drunk when you said it, and I was like, I'm not in the right mindset to talk about this.
That's okay. I don't think I was actually expecting you to talk
about it. It didn't upset me or anything like that, no.
But I don't think I was, all I was saying is like, I kept talking, and it's not like you were validating responses. I don't know, but I feel like some of the responses on the app were kind of, I guess, validating all that too. I can't remember exactly. There were so many words.
There were so many words. But I feel like when we were down there, we heard a bang, didn't we?
Yes.
So when we were down there, sitting there talking about all of this and the spirit box is going nuts, we heard a bang while we were down there. I don't believe there was anybody else down there with us. There was other groups. Oh, there was a group down there?
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. So there's other groups, but it's a pretty big museum. We were all spread out, and we actively try to stay away from people just so we can know if it's something we're hearing and not like another group.
That's what I do in my real life as well.
Sorry. Try to stay away from people as much as I can.
Yeah, we do.
So we did hear a bang while this was all going on. So what else on there? We went to the morgue.
Oh, God.
There was a stuffed mannequin on the table. Me and Sarah were talking with, and Boydson, you were kind of taking pictures, trying to get some orbs.
Which I did.
You did? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that.
Ooh, I want to see.
I got orbs.
Okay. Where were the orbs at?
Thrilling story, thank you.
That was a great story.
There were, I have, I believe, 2 pictures while you guys were at the autopsy table.
Oh God, is this the one where I look like a psychopath?
Yes.
We were like
laughing so hard.
We were trying to name him. I mean, y'all.
Oh yeah,
we were
probably
a little
had
embarrassing.
Triple chins.
Yes.
Oh, neat. Can't wait to include that one.
But yeah, they're just...
Which the morgue is a creepy place to be. Anyways, I always think that's like the creepiest place to go.
Yeah, last night when we were on the investigation again, there was a couple of people who were with us that said that they actually went into the actual, what is it called?
The sliders of the morgue.
Oh no, I'm too claustrophobic to do that.
I think I am too. And the other guy was like, nope, no, I wouldn't have done it. I would have been locked in there.
I would totally do it if somebody was there. Like if I can
to take you out,
close it and then open it myself, knowing that
I think I'd have an
I
anxiety
don't think
attack
I
just
have
from the
the desire
claustrophobia.
to do that. Yeah, I think that makes me too anxious. But I would be the one to unlock the door for you. Okay?
Yeah, I would be there to help you, but I'm not climbing in there.
You guys are so sweet. Yeah.
We wouldn't leave you.
Okay.
But you wouldn't want us in there together trying to do it because we'd probably be laughing about something and not hear you banging on the door to let you out.
Yes.
This
What's up?
is accurate.
And then we'd get distracted and go upstairs or something.
We'd be like, hey, where's my purse? I need more purse wine.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the clown? How did I take a picture?
So I'll show you guys after. So one of the pictures, it's very small. It's down by Sarah's feet. She's at the autopsy table, and it's between her and the wall in the morgue. And the next one, and this was taken, they were taken both within the same minute.
Ooh.
Because I try and take two pictures at the same time. So in one picture, it's down by Sarah's feet, between her feet and the wall. And in the next picture, it's between Lindsay and the wall.
Ooh.
Still down on the floor.
Hey.
Good snaps.
What did we end up naming the mannequin?
Girl.
I know you won't remember.
George? I don't know.
I
That's my
mean, George
guess.
is always our go-to.
Yeah.
George is always our go-to, but I feel like I named him something different, but I don't remember it.
You're
And
asking the
then-
wrong it's probably on your recording.
It's probably in my... Can I name him George?
Yes. Why is everything named George?
Because I had a lot of luck with my friend named George last time. So I'm going to put this recording somewhere.
There, and
trash
when I
all
just
this.
took pictures of the autopsy room itself, there is an orb above our friend, whoever his name is.
I guess we're just going to have to rename him.
Yeah. So in that hallway,
Maybe it's
so
Walter.
there's the autopsy room, and then at the end of that hallway is a kitchen area
Mhm.
where they just have big kitchen instruments.
Like
and-
industrial size stuff.
Yes. So I take a progression of pictures down the hallway, looking both directions, and in 4 pictures, all taken at separate times.
At separate times or like back to back?
All taken back to back, but so 2 minutes apart.
Okay.
Or within 1 minute apart, actually. I have they all have orbs, and they're all just not trailing, but you can see the progression down the hall, which I thought was pretty snazzy.
It's really awesome. Can't wait to
Yeah.
see him.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We didn't feel anything in the kitchen area.
So when you got pictures of the orbs at the morgue, was that the only place that you got pictures of orbs? Or was there anywhere else
On the
downstairs?
level?
Yeah.
The morgue, the hallway.
The hallway had things lined up against it, like wheelchairs and stuff, no?
Yep, real old wheelchairs.
Old wheelchairs. And we sat in a couple, or was that the rocking chairs that we sat in?
Those are the rocking chairs.
Because she's got to
I
sit in something, y'all.
wanted to sit in the wheelchairs, but they were all roped off. I was really bummed
That's right.
because they were old as dirt.
But moral of the story, she sat in a
Sounds
rocking
like
chair and felt nothing, so it doesn't
tetanus.
matter.
Yes.
Written all over it.
It's written all over it.
Hard pass.
What else was there downstairs? Was that pretty much it? The morgue?
Yeah, the occupational therapy area, which led into the car children's area, and then around that corner is the kitchen, and then down the hall just slightly is the morgue.
It was quite the experience.
It was, and I think it was just really cool because we all have this interest in mental health, obviously, and it's kind of just interesting seeing stuff from patients and
The progress that's been made over the
progress
years.
that's been made, and seeing how we know what we know now and treatment, and how everything's just been influential, and even lobotomies, as horrible as they are, how they've taught us about how the brain works, and
Right.
just it's good to look at history so you know how to keep changing it, kind of like what
Like
Mr.
I
Glore
said,
said.
it feels like it was so long ago, but really, it's fairly
Wasn't
recent
that long,
history.
Yeah.
So there's definitely still some progress to be made, and I think we can all agree on that.
And while it has not been our most active place that we've visited
Mhm.
to date, it was still fun.
It was very fun, yeah.
And we did get some evidence.
Yeah, for sure.
We got a couple EVPs.
We did, which we'll upload throughout the episode.
Yeah,
We were trying to talk to them, but we didn't get anything.
There is something. That number's up. Let's turn off our lights and see what happens.
Earlier it was at 0.
All right, here.
Just stand in there.
I do feel like it's cooler in here.
Earlier it was at 0.
All right, here.
Just stand in there.
I do feel like it's cooler in here.
So, I mean, overall, we had a good time. Sarah did not vomit in my car on the way home.
No, I fell asleep. It was perfect.
Yes,
She did. She did great.
Lindsay also did not vomit in my car on the way home.
Lindsay was pretty much sobered by the time we
Yes.
left.
I just was
That was good.
tired
Mm-hmm.
by the time we took a picture. I think at the end of the night, walking out,
Yeah,
and I
in
saw
the tunnel.
myself, and I was like, "It's really cute."
We'll
Can't
upload
wait-
pictures.
Can't wait to upload some of these pictures.
We won't upload that picture, but we'll upload pictures of the orbs and stuff like that.
The one of Lindsay and I standing in front of
In front of the stock.
the real life replica.
Oh, I forgot to tell you about a really important piece of the museum. So, whenever you enter and you go towards the gift shop area, there is a bathroom.
Oh.
And this bathroom has a giant clown painted on the wall.
Because it's like people's top fears is written on the wall too, and clowns, obviously.
Yes.
Y'all.
So, Sarah and I went in there together, and
I was not invited to the pee party.
she...
Not that time, but I went 500 times more.
Yes,
so.
yes.
Yes.
I did pee with you a lot.
She demanded that I take a picture of her with this clown,
I mean, obviously.
which I think is a cute picture, so we'll upload it.
It's a great picture.
It's a picture of my backside.
Your best side.
Oh. Thank you. It's definitely better than the side view of the 5 chins I have in the morgue.
I don't look great in the
When I'm
board
laughing,
pictures either, so it's okay. Why do we suck at our chins?
I don't know. I always do that. I
It's
need to
like-
work on that.
Stick our
Except
chins
for,
up.
where's your face in all these pictures, Boydston? This is awful. Just me looking
She's
like a
in
fool.
charge of the cameras, and that
I
means
take the pictures.
She takes the pictures
I
of us,
know.
acting like fools, talking to our friends in the morgue.
Well, anyways, there'll be some doozies coming your way.
Enjoy.
Joy.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to our little ghost hunting adventure here with Glore Psychiatric Museum in St. Joe. You can always find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Tipsy Ghost, and send us emails at thetipsyghost@gmail.com. Send us your stories. Send us recommendations for places to go ghost hunting. We'll try to get there.
We're thinking about getting some merch.
Oh, yeah. We're thinking about getting some merch, y'all.
We'll let you know.
Keep you guys updated.
By merch, I
TBD.
mean stickers.
Don't give away what the merch is.
I mean, yeah,
Merch.
stickers.
So yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next week.
You forgot.
I forgot what. Dang it.
If you enjoyed what you heard.
Oh.
If you like what you hear.
That's what I heard. My part. I was
Okay,
still
sorry.
talking. If you enjoyed what you heard,
That's our
give us a
outro.
like on Apple Podcasts.
If you enjoy what you heard with Bird. What?
Okay, we'll talk to you guys later.
Sounds great.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.